Let's take a look at another KataGo 9x9 game. In this game we have white mirroring black's first few moves, leading into the Andromeda opening. This is quite a popular opening, and it's interesting because it's quite easy for white to continue to mirror for a few more moves, but we know that white can't continue to mirror the whole game, because then that would be an easy way for white to win every time. So there has to be some point where the mirroring breaks down if black plays correctly, and it's interesting to see sort of how and why that happens. So first we have some mutual destruction here, both sides breaking through each other's shape. Normally having this kind of broken shape would not be acceptable, but when both sides have it, it evens out. And then it looks like the separated stones here are almost dead, but of course there's a lot of agi left in them. So black finds a way here to use the agi of the e3 stone, which is with this beautiful attachment. Now black has a nice follow-up, both this Atari and this connection. So instead of worrying how to respond to that, white simply copies black's idea and plays the same move. Black Ataris, and now if white continues to mirror without thinking, white is going to get into trouble. We have black captures, white captures, and now black gets to play Tengen at a very useful timing. Black can't just play Tengen the first opportunity black gets, because it's not always going to be the best move, but when black gets to play a move that black would have wanted to play anyway, and it happens to be Tengen, then we can say that the mirror is pretty successfully broken. Now white can no longer save these two stones. White can sacrifice them, and white is not that much behind, but this is a winning endgame for black. So this is not an okay way for white to play. So white sees that coming here and just connects to avoid that. Then black Ataris, and this is not preventing white from doing the same thing. You might think that white could just throw in this Atari here to get back to a mirror position, but actually when white Ataris, black has the option to capture here, which makes a big difference. So white does play this move, but we're going to see how the fact that white didn't get this exchange in is going to make a difference in some of the variations. So we can also note that white got a stone at d4, which makes it not really possible for black to play c5 anymore, but white does have the option to play g5. So breaking the mirroring also has some benefits to white, we could say. So black prevents white playing g5 by taking it for themselves. And now let's look at what happens if white tries to go for a kill on these stones in this way. Then black could run out the e3 stone, and this is going to be a big headache for white, because there's no way to capture these two stones. And we can compare that to what happens if white tries to make some shape inside like this. Now because the e7 stone was taken off the board, black can just cleanly kill like this. So that's just some sample variations. There are lots of different options to consider for both sides, but just one example of how it makes a difference that white wasn't able to get this Atari in and make black connect like this. So in the game, yes, black goes down, and to handle now the e3 headache here, white just goes down, which makes it so that in the future, if black runs out, this is just simple to capture. And black actually goes down again. Black could also play on the left, but white has a nice endgame here. This cut sets up a double Atari. So to handle this, black has to push once, then come back and protect. And black is successful in capturing the 3 stones, but white gets all of this in center, and later on j6 is going to be a good endgame point. So this is kind of pleasant for white. So black prevents that by descending at h5, also setting up a big endgame at h3. And now white comes back to b5. You may wonder why not b4 instead. Well, b5 is still taking care now of keeping the stones basically dead, so this is just expanding more and threatening more endgame towards black. So black is going to try to just keep as many points as possible. It's not really possible to save these stones. And let's see, white plays this Hane, black plays Atari, which looks like kind of like a beginner mistake, I think, at first glance. There are so many weaknesses here for black. We have this Atari, which is normally falling apart here for black, but now when black extends, black has this cut, and this is actually trouble for white. We can see that, for instance, like this, This is one way that black can win this capturing race. And this means that white cannot go for this Atari. And if white goes for this Atari instead, white can break through here, but then black gets to connect up to these stones, revive them, and this is still a kind of close endgame, but black is actually happy like this as well. So white actually just comes back and connects here. Let's black have that Atari. Black plays this wedge, white connects. It's not good enough for black to simply come back and protect at b7. Remember that black has to make up for the 7 komi white has, and this would not be enough. So at this time, black has to take the center to take the h3 point, which is a bit bigger than b7. And white could kind of try to mirror like this. You can see that b7 is kind of the mirrored point to h3. It's a little difference because it's kind of like, you could imagine like white had these exchanges in, it would be more similar. But it's kind of still similar to mirroring. But the problem with it is that, again, thanks to this Atari that's coming back to haunt white, we can see that black has some options here that white doesn't have. So black has this connection underneath that doesn't exist for white, because if white plays this Atari, black is going to just capture instead of connecting. So that means that mirroring is not a good strategy for white, and white has to respond to black's endgame instead. And black should choose the right time to take center here. It's good to go this far, but if black tries to go one step further, saving e3, then white gets to Atari in center, and then cut at b7, and now white is winning. So black needs to be careful here and take this time to come back to protect b7. And black already got some reducing in center here, so black is happy. And now white needs to be very careful. Can you find the right endgame move for white in the lower right corner? If you played f3, you fell into black's trap, because now black can play j2, giving up 2 stones, but this is not very big since white captures, black takes back. So it's worth it for black to make this sacrifice to reduce a little more in the corner, and now black is winning. So white has to prevent that by going down here. Black cannot connect here because white would kill all the stones. So black has to just connect like this. White still gets this Atari, and then white finally gets the last dame, Tengen, and this is a draw. Hope you found this game interesting. Thank you for watching.